You mentioned policy a bit earlier, and I wanted to come back to that because Coca-Cola and a few other large, fast-moving consumer good companies have taken an interesting step in endorsing a statement from the MacArthur Foundation on extended producer responsibility, EPR, and on a call for a treaty, a global treaty for plastics. Why have you done that?
Well, it's important to show that we're willing to support business working together with government to drive the fundamental change. And so there's plenty of governments who, are already involved in EPR and have done this work for years, but then there's also some who maybe are not as familiar with what it really takes to do it. And so for us, it's about how do you inspire by putting these statements forward and working through collective action to drive that change. And so that's why we signed up, because we believe in it. We know that we have proof points that it works and it can make a difference. And then how do we inspire everyone to work together, to align it, to do this in a common way to drive scalable change?
And it's interesting, right? Because it's easy to say we need policy. In many ways, it's more valuable to say which policies. Some people will be surprised by some of the organizations that have endorsed EPR, for instance, because that does actually add a cost, add an investment to your business.
Yes, it does. But what we have found is that it can actually help to work in terms of the goals that we've set on World Without Waste. So if you look at the whole, this is why I always believe we have to step back and look at the larger picture. If you look at what that can do, that actually starts to create an even playing field for all of the industry to make sure that we're clear on what is the goal, how is the mechanism going to work, how do we ensure that we're getting the collection done, that there's infrastructure to reprocess the material, how do we make sure that we're all playing our part. And it does provide that sort of that playing field where it's really clear what you're trying to do, and that there's this accountability and the tension in terms of regulation. I know not all businesses like regulation. Sometimes you need regulation to drive scalable change. Sometimes you need regulation to ensure that we're all doing what we say we're doing, or that the definitions are clear. So for us, we look at it and we say, yes, while it drives maybe a short-term cost, a long-term benefit certainly outweighs the short-term cost.
Another topic that I find really interesting, Pablo, because you were talking about partnerships earlier. Unilever is one of a number of businesses that have recently endorsed the need for EPR and the need for a global treaty, a legally binding global treaty on plastics and on plastic pollution. Why have you done that?
Well, we are part of 70 companies, actually, that we have signed up for it, supporting a plastic global treaty through the United Nations. And the main reason, Seb, is because we need a level playing field for this. Yeah, we need to ensure we all play with the same rules. That is, we are supportive of it, and that's why we believe that that treaty, it should be legally binding. It's very, very important. It is legally binding, so there is no way around this. And the second element for the treaty will be we have to ensure that will drive reduction in the amount of virgin plastic is produced to force the system to start moving into a more circular system. So those are the two key elements. When it comes to EPR schemes, extended producer responsibility schemes, again, we are supportive of those schemes as long as they are implemented and created in the right way. We believe it will help the industry as a whole to move into circular system.